Yo, what is good, people? Welcome back to another day of the $1 billion plan. Um, I'm having a good day today. Today's December 30th, getting ready, preparing for 2026 and launching the new company. And before you can launch a new company, you have to clean up things from the past. So I shut down my old company in 2025 at the beginning of the year. And for those of you who don't know, that company was Club 502. I had a clothing brand. Yeah, so I just kind of want to make this video today about, the clothing brand, how it got started, the lessons I learned, all the business lessons, what to do, what not to do, all the money lost, the traveling, the shows, the manufacturer, storage, Shopify. I just want to loosely go over it. I haven't really organized my thoughts, so I'm just going to kind of go off the dome and just talk about everything that worked and all the things that didn't work that ended up attributing after 2.5, 3 years of it failing and me closing it down. But there's a lot of things I learned from it that I'll be carrying to the next chapter, to the next business. So um, we actually have a storage unit that has all the clothes. I did a flash sale maybe a month ago. I opened the site back up, put everything at $5. I got rid of a lot of clothes, but still have some left. So I'm gonna prepare to ship those to Goodwill, and then start making room in that storage unit for all of the stuff that I have now for the new business. And eventually, we are gonna have to upgrade storage unit because I have almost 1,000 products of this new business. Come with me. We're gonna go to the storage unit. We're gonna set up shop, reorganize things, and get everything ready to go. So, all right. I'll put on my seatbelt. First thing I want to kind of get into, I want to explain what Club 502 is, and in explaining it, I'll also highlight one of the biggest reasons why it was never going to be successful, because based off of just what it is. So this is a very, very long story, but I'm gonna try to condense it down. Once again, one of the problems I had with this company was explaining what it is. So Club 502 started right after COVID on campus at the school I went to, Prairie View A&M University. And Club 502 started as a social club. It was me and our group of friends tired from being locked in the room for 2 years. It was our senior year of college, and we wanted to have some fun, but things were just opening up, and people were still getting used to being social. So we decided, let's throw a party, but let's take out all the bad stuff from normal parties and clubs. Overcrowded, costs too much, it's dark, customer service, no food. Take out all the bad stuff. So we started by grilling chicken and just picking a good group of people, about 20 people. And then with those 20 people, make sure we had food, drinks, and a warm, inviting atmosphere. And we had the time of our lives. And, that started to develop more and more. And as it started to develop, it started getting bigger. 20 turned to 40, 40 turned to 60, 60 started to top out at about 75, 80. And we were the talk of the campus, and it turned into a brand because the dorm room number was 205. But on a small campus like that, you don't want your dorm room number out there because people will find it. So what we used to call it as a code name, one day we said, yeah, we're about to have another Club 502, which is 205 backwards, and that's how Club 502 got its name. We started calling the parties Club 502s, and our group became known as like Club 502, 502 Boys, whatever. So I used to advertise, and I was a photographer and videographer, so I used to take pictures at all the parties. And one time I discovered a interesting marketing trend. I'm about to teach y'all about marketing. People are self-centered. They want to see themselves. They especially want to see themselves in media. So instead of posting individual pictures, and I think Instagram at the time, you could only post 10, but I had way more photos and way more people, and I wanted everybody to be in the post. I made a collage. I made one singular photo with a logo, Club 502 logo, and put everybody in it. And that was the birth of the Club 502 logo. And the thing about putting 60 people in one photo is that you're guaranteeing yourself 50 retweets or reshares. So it gets your engagement. Boom. So that's a little like marketing cheat code I figured out. Anyways, after I did that, that's where the logo was born. Went through a couple iterations and I found a good logo. And that was this logo right here. And I said, whoa, we should put this on a patch and put it on a hat. Somebody had mentioned it. Man, that would look crazy on a hat. So I ordered 2 hats, figured out somebody to make the patches, and I did it. And boom, it was a hit. Like, as soon as the hats came out, everybody was like, yeah, I want one. I was selling them for like $30 because it costs a whole lot to make them back then. So I was just selling hats. Like, everybody wanted the hats. And now we're pulling up to the parties, and people wearing the hats in the parties. Everybody wearing the hats. We walk around campus wearing the hats. Like, let's expand past the hats. Let's make shirts. Let's make... I started making pants at one point, but we started making like streetwear apparel, and that was in that COVID time when everybody had these stimulus checks, money was flowing, so it was easy to flip shirts. But that was the problem right there. It was a fad. Everybody was starting a clothing brand. And I don't care how good your business fundamentals were. If you were just starting out, it was just oversaturated. Every time you woke up, somebody was starting a clothing brand. That was the problem within itself, and that's what's led to me choosing to switch to laundry detergent in this new product. There's no courses. Here's a quick tip right here. I'm sorry, these thoughts are so unorganized. Here's a tip for you. If they're already making online courses and a bunch of YouTube videos on how this is a business that can make you quit your day job and you can make all this money real fast, and it's just take this course and I'll teach you how to set up your store, it's already too late. If people with clothing brands are not making their money from selling clothes at their clothing brand, but they're making money from selling courses about how to sell clothes, that means they're not selling enough clothes to make money and they have to find another route. They may have figured out the clothing brand, but that doesn't mean it's successful. And with everybody, I would go to these masterminds and I would join them. I pay a couple $1,000s to join a mastermind. Now I'm sitting in a room with 60 other people trying to start clothing brands. It was too saturated. It was a trend that could only last when people had a bunch of disposable income. As we know, the economy's gotten way worse since then. Your dollar does not go as far. Nobody's trying to spend that much money on shirts. It's hard to compete with the Shins that are selling cheap clothes because most people just want it cheap and fast. That's ultimately why that failed, because sales ultimately kept going down and down and down and down. And to connect it back to the beginning, Club 502 was about a certain moment in my life. A moment in my life that I felt like I outgrew. Club 502 was about that senior year of college. It was about that group of friends, but that's what gave it meaning. But as it turned to just a clothing brand and now we're out of college and everybody's kind of spread out doing their own thing, it didn't have that same spark, because the thing that made it pop, which was the social, the group, the photos, the parties, the pictures, that was no longer there. It was just empty clothing. And that's where I had a hard time describing, hey, what does Club 502 mean? Oh, well, in college, we threw parties. It was a terrible business pitch. So you could never win nobody over, especially when you're in once again, a market that's oversaturated with a bunch of people trying to make clothing. There was no story that was a winner to get the sales. So ultimately, we just stopped making enough sales. And after losing, I probably lost a good $20,000 to $25,000 in that venture. But I learned so much. I learned business. I learned Shopify, which we're about to get into all that right now. So I'm going to pause right now and let's go ahead and get to the storage unit. And then we'll pick back up with just more of this rant. Oh. All right, we're at the storage unit. Let's open this thing up, see what we're working with. I was here a couple weeks ago. So if I remember correctly, it's not too much of a mess. We just got to kind of move the clothes to the side for now. And then we'll come back in another episode and we will take those clothes to Goodwill. Woo. Man, okay. Let me show y'all what we had in here. So, set up, we had 2 shelves. This was our last drop that I ever did. So we had black and white shirts, See, I had smalls, medium, large. So like I said, they're mostly sold out. We had jackets. We had some extra large jackets left. A bunch of 2XLs, 2XLs. That's a 2XL actually. Sorry. Just all my shipping boxes, shipping supplies, some like sweatsuits, some samples. We did a sweatsuit sale, and these are all our OG shirts from the first year. And those are all hats. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna consolidate all of this. Everything over here and there is gonna get moved here, and we're just gonna try to stack as much as possible in these bottom two shelves. Now we got that cleared out. Once again, we're just doing minimal stuff for now, and then let's go down to the car, grab all those soap samples, scents, put them there. I kind of put these cardboard boxes that I already had here because there's these holes. So the different bottles are gonna fall and not sit straight on the holes. So I just put these here to make them into better shelves. Don't mind if I do. I'll take one of these. Ooh, can dry. All right, now that that's finished up, let's wrap up this episode with more of the things that I learned and why I chose laundry soap. So like I said, too many people were selling shirts, oversaturated, it wasn't working. But my philosophy always has been entrepreneurship is not about making money. You make money when you make life easier and you help the world, when you produce something that the world wants. And that's how you make money. So I was too focused on making money. I want to sell toilet paper, something that is a necessity and you need to use it over and over and over again, and you can't live without it. Now the thing is, I thought clothing was that, but luxury streetwear clothing isn't, and that was the catch. Once I closed this down in the beginning of 2025, I spent literally months thinking about what the next idea was. And I didn't come up with soap till almost August. I used that same thought process. I need to sell something close to toilet tissue. What's the next close thing to toilet tissue? Soap. Okay, do I want body soap? No. Then I was watching AMP. I don't watch streams, but I see AMP on the social medias. And once I saw them come out with the line of the deodorants, the lotions, and the facial care, boom, that's when it initially went off. Because I thought it was such a great idea. They weren't selling a t-shirt. They weren't selling a hat. They went into soap. And I was like, that is the key. Like, go after the markets that people thought you couldn't dive into. You thought Old Spice and Dawn and has the whole soap game unlocked, but they don't. If you can build a following, and if people want to rock with your product more because there's something more behind that brand. So that's how I came up with laundry soap. Eventually I did get to laundry soap. I think it's just one of those products where the market is boring and there's room to have some character, some personality, and some story behind the brand. I don't think nobody's in love with Tide. I don't think anybody's in love with Gain. That's just the two you see on the aisle, and it does the job. So we never really thought outside the box, like, can this be improved or can this be better? And another thing that influenced my philosophy with the soaps, and I'm gonna be doing these premium scents, is the energy drink aisle. You used to have Red Bull and Monster. Now you have a bunch of energy drinks and a million flavors. And not only do you have just energy drinks, you have the sports energy drinks. So now they're healthier. And you go in the sports energy drink aisle, you got the Alani's, the Ghost, the Rain, the Jocko. You got so many different ones to choose from with different ingredients and different flavors. Who says I can't have that same variety and excitement of trying something new with my laundry detergent? So what I'm trying to bring is that experience to laundry detergent, where you have multiple scents to choose from, whether you're doing, your gym clothes, your clothes, your significant other's clothes, your laundry, not your laundry, your sheets, your towels. You can have different smells for different things, just depending on what you like, versus always just having the one Tide smell or the one Gain smell. Now you can choose from different smells and see what you like, and limited edition smells and all that type of cool stuff. I think that's a very big opportunity, and that is literally the last step we're waiting on until we launch the brand. We got the scents are with the chemists, and the chemists are doing chemistry, and they're figuring out how to make it work perfect for the soap formula that I've developed with the help of my manufacturers over the past couple months. So once that is done, we're going to be launching full scale. So do be on the lookout, because I will be expanding the R&D to the public, and I'm going to want people to try these samples that I make. We're going to start with a bunch of samples, and then from there, we'll get it popping. Other takeaways just to add is, things I learned from the clothing brand that doesn't make it a complete failure. Bookkeeping, balancing my books, paying taxes, sales permits, all that business stuff, how to get a LLC, how to get an EIN. I have practice. I did that, setting up a Shopify store, building a website from scratch, running email marketing, text marketing, how that works. Learned all of that. Going to pop-up shops, farmers markets, where to find them, setting up the tent, what I need, waters, phone chargers, tablecloth, presentation, how to talk to people, pitch the product in person, how to market media, even though I've been doing media for a long time, but how to film, run Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, TikTok ads, TikTok shop. I got so much experience from the clothing brand, even though it was the wrong product. I feel like I have such a head start with creating something like that. That's why I'm so optimistic now that I feel like I have an amazing product, put all my skills with this amazing products, and that is the $1 billion plan. I don't need to take all of Gain or Tide's customers. I wish them the best, nothing but the best. Oh, other things I learned. How to manufacture, talking to manufacturers from across the world, giving them the right details and making sure I'm being detailed enough. And I got to order samples, and I got to preview the samples, and they're going to try to get over on me and charge too much. I know I need to know how to bargain. I need to know how to outsource contractors for graphic design and other things, bookkeeping help, hiring contractors so I can do more with less time, and delegate tasks. I had a whole team. I had a team of 5 people running a team, the weekly meetings, keeping track, holding people accountable, hiring people. You know what's harder than hiring people? Firing people. It's a crazy thing to go through. It's not just bad for the person being fired, especially when you're running a small company. These people they're your friends, they're your family. Firing was not easy, but all of that I learned from the clothing brand, and I'm ready to bring that to here. So that's just kind of everything that's on my mind for now. There's probably a million other lessons, and we'll get into that on other episodes. I feel like I've had you guys for quite a minute now. So, whatever you're doing out there, go make your $1 billion plan. Go make it happen. Set some goals. Set some goals that are so big, people tell you you need to be more realistic. So, yeah, go set your goals. Go chase it. Make your $1 billion plan. And thanks for tuning in with me to hear and learn and watch me on the journey to my $1 billion plan. Have a good day. Stay organic. Bless.